Okay, y'all, we need to talk, because the Braxton family, they are facing another major scandal, and baby, this one is different. This one cuts deep. Their niece Ashley just came forward and exposed decades, I'm talking decades of hidden secrets that nobody wanted to talk about. We're talking emotional damage, we're talking betrayal, we're talking long-silenced trauma that has been bubbling underneath the surface for years. And honey, her revelation didn't just shake the table, it flipped the whole thing over. Her story sparked a full-blown family meltdown that pulled in ex-husbands, buried confessions, and all the mess we thought was already out there. But no. Ashley's truth? It exposed something way darker. A generational curse that's been haunting this family from the very beginning. And y'all, we're about to unpack all of it. So let's get into it. Ashley, yes. Toni Braxton's niece, she hopped on TikTok and shared her story. And when I tell you this girl had the courage, I mean, she really laid it all out there. She revealed that when she was just 16 years old, one of her aunt's husbands crossed some serious boundaries. We're talking inappropriate, we're talking unacceptable, we're talking things that should have never, ever happened to a child. But here's where it gets even messier. Instead of getting the support she needed, instead of being protected and believed, Ashley says she was met with shame and silence from the family. They swept it under the rug, y'all. And it gets worse. Her own father, Michael Jr., sent her a cease and desist letter. Yes.
We have had a series of unfortunate events in the Braxton family lately.
What we were told is you didn't want to film with us.
Well, you already know why I want to film with y'all.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
My niece Ashley, who we love very much, posted her videos on social media with some accusations about her family.
You heard that right. He threatened his own daughter legally to keep her quiet. Now, the only person who reached out to her? Tamar. Tamar was the only one who acknowledged what happened and even admitted that she faced something similar when she was young. Let that sink in for a second. The only support Ashley got was from someone who had been through the same pain. And here's the thing, Ashley's story wasn't new. This wasn't some isolated incident. This echoed a long-standing pattern in the Braxton family that goes back years. See, the Braxtons built this whole public image of unity, of gospel sisterhood, of being this tight-knit family that always had each other's backs. But behind the scenes, the family prioritized appearances over healing. They cared more about how things looked than how people actually felt. Their mother, Evelyn, she raised them strong, yes, but she also raised them silent. Don't talk about it, don't air it out, just push through. And we saw this play out before. Remember when Tamar once revealed that she was touched as a child? Her own sisters showed disbelief. They responded with cold, dismissive reactions, like they didn't want to believe it could happen in their family. That's the culture right there. Speak up and you're making the family look bad. Suffer in silence and you're being loyal. It's toxic, it's damaging, and it's been going on for way too long.
Okay, I gotta call you back. I'm about to have Bible study.
Why?
Because I'm saved. And I read the word. Because it's important to know the word. How else we gonna battle all these demons and witchcraft? How else you gonna do it?
Now, if we're gonna understand this family, we gotta go back to where it all started. And that's with Evelyn and Michael Braxton. Sr., because the dysfunction, it began right there. Michael Sr. cheated on Evelyn, had a whole situation going on, and later married the other woman. Just like that. Left Evelyn to raise all those kids on her own. So Evelyn had to become this tough, no-nonsense figure. She taught her daughters survival over softness. She taught them to keep going no matter what. And because of that, Toni ended up stepping into this second mom role, especially after Evelyn was hospitalized. Toni became the caretaker, the protector, the one holding everything together. But here's the twist. Toni's singing dreams, they stopped being her dreams and became the family's financial hope. Suddenly, it wasn't about Toni's passion anymore. It was about Toni needing to succeed so the whole family could eat. That's a lot of pressure to put on one person, y'all. That's a heavy, heavy burden, and Toni did succeed. Baby, she became an instant R&B icon with that distinct voice, that presence, that star power. But behind all the glamour and the hit records and the awards, her family dynamics were strained and messy.
I went to the doctor. My heart was aching. It was like I had had every test done. I had the echo done. I had the EKG. I had blood work done. And I went to get the angio. And the doctor was like, no, that's your pre-op. I said, what do you mean my pre-op? No, you having surgery. We got to look inside your heart.
Her ex-husband, Carrie Lewis, even came out and claimed that Toni used her sisters as pawns, just moving them around like pieces on a chessboard to benefit her career. And let's talk about Tamar for a second. Tamar contributed background vocals that literally shaped Toni's sound. You can hear Tamar in those records. But did she get credit? No. Did she get recognition? Absolutely not. And it wasn't just Tamar, Tawanda, and Trina were handling behind-the-scenes tasks, doing the work to maintain Tony's image, making sure everything looked perfect. But despite all their contributions, despite all the labor and love they put in, the sisters received no recognition. They were invisible. And that builds resentment real quick. As Tony's star kept rising higher and higher, the emotional distance within the family grew wider and wider. She was out here mingling with industry elites. We're talking A-listers, moguls, the biggest names in music. Meanwhile, her sisters, they were struggling financially.
Please welcome Tamar Braxton!
She was so freaking mean to me. I was in shock.
Do you take responsibility for the situation that you're in right now?
100%.
100%.
100%. I couldn't believe it because I loved her so much.
Trying to make ends meet, watching their big sister live a life they could only dream of. And that created jealousy, that created heartbreak, that created this painful divide. Because Tony was carrying the pressure of competing with icons like Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey. She was fighting to stay relevant, to stay on top, but her success came with guilt. The more she won, the more her sisters felt left behind. The bigger she got, the smaller they felt. It's like she couldn't win either way, succeed and hurt her family, or hold back and hurt herself. That's the impossible position she was in. Eventually, Tamar got tired. She was tired of living in Tony's shadow, tired of being the background voice, tired of being overlooked. She wanted her own spotlight, her own validation, her own moment to shine. And honestly, you can't even blame her. But when Tamar started moving toward independence, when she started stepping out on her own, it intensified the family tensions even more. Braxton family values. On camera, it was all unity, glamour, emotional bonding, and sister love. But off camera, baby, it was competition, jealousy, and strategy. Every single scene became a battle for relevance and screen time. Who's getting the most camera moments? Who's driving the storyline? Who's the fan favorite? And Tamar, she quickly became the breakout star. Fans LOV'd her personality, her one-liners, her energy. But that success caused resentment among the other sisters. Tawanda's ex-husband Andre even confirmed it later. He came out and said there was real jealousy and rivalry behind the scenes. What looked like sisterly disagreements on TV were actually deep-rooted issues that had been there for years. See, those arguments we saw filmed for TV, they weren't just for drama. They were actually years and years of buried issues finally coming to the surface. And Tony's confidence didn't help the situation. She had this way of reminding everyone subtly, or not so subtly, that she was the star. She was the one with the career, the accolades, the legacy. But here's the darker part. The producers, they pushed for drama. They turned real wounds into entertainment. They took genuine family pain and packaged it for ratings. And the family went along with it because they needed the check, they needed the platform, they needed the exposure. So the Braxtons bled emotionally for ratings. They put their trauma, their fights, their heartbreak on display for the world to consume, and we ate it up. Now let's talk about how this generational pain played out in their romantic relationships. Because each sister entered adulthood carrying unhealed childhood trauma, and that trauma, it showed up in their marriages, their partnerships, their love lives. Tawanda and Andre, their marriage was strained by finances, ambition, and resentment. They couldn't get on the same page because they were both carrying so much pain. Trina and Gabe humiliated her publicly, embarrassed her, disrespected her. The divorce became her freedom. She had to walk away to save herself. Tony, she struggled with love because of the fame and the pressure. Her relationship with Birdman was complicated by lifestyle differences, by expectations, by the weight of being Toni Braxton. Tamar went through multiple marriages and public breakdowns, all tied back to that generational pain. She was searching for love, but kept finding more hurt.
Everybody makes me feel guilty for leaving my family alone because they're toxic. Oh.
And Tracy, there were rumors of infidelity from her husband. She forgave him publicly, put on a brave face, but she suffered privately. And when she passed, she left her estate only to her son. That tells you everything you need to know about what she was really feeling. So, what's the real issue here? It's the emotional silence that's been passed down through generations. Evelyn raised her daughters to survive, not to feel safe. She taught them to be strong, not to be vulnerable. And in that family dynamic, certain toxic patterns became the norm. Love meant usefulness. If you weren't useful, you weren't valued. Attention meant competition. You had to fight for it, earn it, take it from someone else. Approval was earned, not given. You couldn't just be loved. You had to prove you deserved it. Tamar fought for her identity her whole life. She was always trying to step out of the shadow. Tawanda and Trina fought for recognition. They wanted to be seen, not just used. And Tracy? Tracy absorbed everyone's pain until it literally broke her. She carried the weight of the whole family on her shoulders until she couldn't anymore. Here's what it comes down to. Y'all, the Braxtons didn't just inherit talent, they inherited trauma. They inherited silence. They inherited this twisted idea that keeping secrets is loyalty and speaking truth is betrayal. In that family, silence turned truth into something dangerous. If you spoke up, you got isolated, you got threatened, you got cut off. And so everyone just stayed quiet, even when they were hurting, even when they were breaking, even when they needed to speak. But here's the thing. One honest apology from Evelyn could break this cycle. One moment of vulnerability, one acknowledgement of the pain, one admission that things weren't handled right. That's all it would take to start the healing. But until that happens, these patterns are going to repeat. More heartbreak, more jealousy, more forced unity while everyone's secretly falling apart. So here we are. The Braxtons are at a crossroads. If they want to heal, they have to face their pain together. Not on camera, not for ratings, not for appearances. They have to sit down and have the hard conversations, the uncomfortable conversations, the real conversations, because survival made them strong, yes, but healing would make them whole. Healing would break the generational curse. Healing would give them the peace they've been searching for all these years. The saga continues, y'all, and it's gonna keep going until someone finally steps up and breaks the silence. So I'm asking you, can the Braxtons break this cycle? Or are they too deep in the drama, too tangled up in the dysfunction to ever truly be free? Drop your thoughts in the comments